to reset. My parents' house. Yeah.
Yes. Today was what?
Are we waiting on anybody else?
No.
Okay, just checking because I saw there's a few other people invited, so I just want to make sure we weren't.
Our first and last PR, the PR team, Kristen Urban, she's on here. Right. just in case, But other than that, nope. You're talking to Nadiyah.
Shout out to a team.
Right? Yeah.
Here for moral support.
Exactly. Thank you, Kristen.
Teams are always fun.
I have these headphones on. Do you guys hear me okay? Should I take them off? Should I keep them on?
Okay.
I'll say that's your is that a headphone and a mic combined, or is that just headphones?
I think both.
Okay, cool. Microphones are great. So let's do that. It just makes the audio sound so much better when it comes across through like the podcast platform. So
okay, definitely. Can you hear me well?
Yes, ma'am. Nice.
Alrighty.
Let me just do one thing.
Today's Friday was my little self-care. So I was at the nail shop and I was like, ladies, come on, I got an interview. We gotta go. But I was like,
that was ambitious on a sunny Friday going to the nail salon.
Listen, because you know what? I talk with my hands so much that I feel like if they're not together, like I just don't feel together. So.
I hear you.
So we'll get right into this Millionaire podcast / talk show with my wonderful co-host, Michelle Welch. What's going on, Michelle?
It's a beautiful day, Charles.
It is, man. We had our first morning meeting in the mastermind and it gets the energy going. It's like it's tough to wake up early and talk business and talk goals and talk strategy and not want to crush it the rest of the day. It's kind of like exercising early in the morning. So I feel like I accomplished something and I'm ready to just kick butt.
I feel it. You're giving off some good energy right now. I'm like, what's going on? Like, I got to stay on my toes.
Which is rare. Usually I'm really mellow. I'm just kind of chilling. So
it's okay. So today we'll kind of change roles because I'm feeling a little mellow today coming from the nail salon. So
all right. Got a notification. So you guys know the purpose of this podcast is to share the stories of successful African-American business owners and investors. We want people to learn that they do exist. And we also want people to learn that business and investing are the true keys to financial success and generational wealth. With us today, we have Miss Nadiyah Spencer. She's the owner of Tinkypoo Diapers. During the height of the pandemic and the world witnessing the unjust death of George Floyd, Spelman alumni Nadiyah Spencer had a desire to protect her child and all children in culturally positive baby products, including diapers that depict children of all backgrounds. And I think what's really cool is I was checking it. I'm not going to read the whole thing, but we're going to learn more about you through this conversation. And I'm happy to have you on the show. Can you go ahead and introduce yourself for the people?
I'm happy to be here. Thank you, guys. I'm Nadiyah Spencer. The founder and CEO of Tinkypoo and a manufacturing consultant. I've been in manufacturing and production for over 20 years, starting with Gap headquarters in San Francisco. I'm a mom of one beautiful son, a wife, a daughter. I'm a sister to 2 brothers, and I'm a New Jersey head. So that means house and club music head. So, but yes, that's Nadiyah kind of in a nutshell. Mm-hmm.
So the question we always ask people, because I think this is relevant to your story and the things you've been able to accomplish, is what was life like growing up?
Life like growing up was amazing. I had a really pleasant, but militant, but strong upbringing, meaning my parents had us young. My mom and dad were 19 when they had my older brother, 21 when they had me, and 22 when they had my baby brother. And they made it through against all odds. The people like, how did they get married so young and what are they doing? But I just saw love and perseverance, and I saw unconditional support. My mom was I didn't realize until later, serial entrepreneur. She couldn't work for others, didn't want to work for others. So my father kept a steady job at AT&T for years. And whatever business my mom wanted to get into, he supported. So one of her last major businesses that she ended up closing, retiring before she decided I'm just going to be at home was a bodega called What's in Store Roz. My mom's name is Rosalind. And it was a corner bodega that everybody in our neighborhood come to for advice, a turkey and cheese sandwich, a slushy, all the things. She's one of the first Black shops, actually had a slushy machine inside. She had a grill inside. So it was just like, it was a neighborhood Cheers, my mom's store. So seeing how the camaraderie and what she brought to this Black community was idyllic growing up. They used to do bus rides to great adventures. They hosted fishing derbies. So I was around parents who really believed in giving back to others in their community and showing us that by example.
Yeah. And so I see that you're a Spelman alumni.
Yes.
How has that impacted you in your professional career?
Man, Spelman has been phenomenal in the sense that I'm gonna rewind for a second. My parents wanted me to stay close to home. I got a scholarship to Temple, one at Vassar, and Temple being right outside of Jersey in Philadelphia. But ever since I was 13, I wanted to go to Spelman. And I remember seeing it on TV and these beautiful Black women just walking through this arch. This arch is what you walk through when you graduate. And I just wanted to be a part of that. So going there, it did live up to the hype for me. I would say Spelman was, if I was already a diamond in my parents' eyes and how they kind of polished me, Spelman really just did the refinement and the finishing. It was a powerful sisterhood and still is. The amount of connections I've made, and full transparency, the PR firm that took on First and Last PR, the owner of that PR firm is a Spelman alum. Like I said, I'm a manufacturing consultant. I own a company called Bradshaw Consulting Group. As well, clients at Spelman alum, we're really big on supporting and helping one another because we're all we got. And, Spelman's saying is our whole school for Christ. That's our motto. But if you were to kind of polish that to every day now, and where we stand is I have my sister's back. And that's what Spelman was about and still is.
Do you think that standing on a legacy like that gives you a responsibility to be great?
It gives me a responsibility to be myself, right? To be great is a lot of pressure. You want to be able to make mistakes and you can still be great in falling. You can be great in how you lift yourself up. I think what it taught me was to work the room as only Nadiyah could. And I learned how to be more of me there. There's a feeling of camaraderie and embracing. And of course you have issues, all people have things, but for the most part, my experience at Spelman just taught me that I do stand on the shoulders of greatness. So therefore I can walk that path, but also walk my own journey.
Did you meet your husband in college?
Ironically, I did, but we didn't date in college. We didn't date. I took a class at Morehouse called The Art of Public Speaking. And my husband, who was from Iowa, he was there. He was a football star. And we used to laugh at each other. I'm like, you're a Black man from Iowa. That's like exotic. I've never met a Black man from Iowa before. He's like, he called me the loud schmuck from New Jersey. And we just had like a banter there, but we really didn't date until almost 10, 12 years post-college. We just had a liking for one another and connected right when I turned 30 years old. And that was all she wrote.
Wow, that's interesting. It's an
interesting story because how we came back to one another is really, really inspiring. He reached out to my mom wouldn't give him my number.
Wow.
He was from Iowa. I was in an elevator with a young lady when I was working for a company called Aeropostale, and she had an accent. And I was like, where are you from? And she said, Iowa. And, you play that name game. Do you know? She's like, oh, wow. He went to high school with my older brother. And I remember almost a year to the day after that conversation, she comes to my office, like, close the door. I have the number to your future. I was like, I'm not calling this man's house. He could be married with kids. And his exact words, he was just leaving the gym, and his exact words says his stepbrother was, remember that loudmouth schmuck from New Jersey I told you was going to marry? This is her on the phone. And
oh my gosh.
that's the story of he and I, which even funnier is my company, Bradshaw Consulting Group. Like I said, I worked for a lot of brands throughout the years. I worked for Gap. I worked for a brand called Eden, owned by Bono of U2 and his wife. Echo Unlimited. I worked for Live Mechanics, quite a few brands. My husband, when we started dating, had set up my LLC for Bradshaw Consulting Group. He said, one day you're going to realize that you do all this production and manufacturing for others, you're going to be able to do it for yourself.
Yeah.
And so he's been one of my biggest supporters from the time that I started my entrepreneurial journey.
I think what's interesting is you work for other companies, but you work for your firm. How do you position that? Because that's interesting. I know there's a lot of people out there, and we always talk about like entrepreneurship or being independent or working for a company, and you were able to do both.
Yes.
How'd you position that?
You know what? That's a really good question. So what Bradshaw Consulting Group is a consultancy that helps small to medium-sized businesses really hone in on their manufacturer desires. So I started in apparel. That was my background. So I helped people who might have had, like, I want to start a clothing line of some sort. And I would help get all those things in line. Like, what is the best pattern maker? Are we going to do this domestically? If we're doing domestically, are we working with factories in LA or New York? Are we doing overseas? Are we doing in China, Portugal? Whatever your price point is, whatever your aesthetic is, whatever you're trying to be, I help find and hone in the right manufacturers to bring that vision to life. 7 years ago, I branched into fragrance, which was amazing. One of my Spelman sisters said, you're taking all these parts to make a whole. I worked in Africa. I built a workshop in Africa with a brand called Suno. And that was a major endeavor, but a huge endeavor. And then this fragrance house said, if you can do that, you can bring these beautiful clothes in a non-traditional, manufacturing capacity, which was on the continent. And they were sold in your department stores like Neiman's and Barney's. Like, why shouldn't they be? You can do this. So I was up against, ironically, somebody who worked for Bond Number 9 for this fragrance position, and I got it. And the reason why I got it versus not having it was because it's like, if you could do what you did for so many other small brands, it was more about tenacity and aggressiveness than necessarily knowing fragrance. Like I might not have known all the notes or what this was. I can learn that on the job, but how to take parts to make a whole, the box, the glass, working with the fragrance house, making sure things are, positioned to be on sack shelves properly. Those things I learned. So I started to realize that there weren't a lot of us, people of color, in the fragrance space. So this luxury fragrance house I went to and it said, listen, I would like to tell our stories through fragrance. How about I pre-vet and make sure everyone, able to do and build the brand, but let me, Bradshaw Consulting Group, usher in fragrance clients to you guys, because you're on the pedestal and it's hard to reach. And so many of us didn't realize we could even get into that game. So I launched 2 brands through this fragrance house is based in Geneva, Switzerland, and they're doing exceptionally well. These scents have been sold out. They're at Nordstrom, they are at Saks, they're at Bloomingdale's. And if I didn't go approach this company with that, hey, let me bring new talent to you, it might not have happened.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Before I pass it to Michelle, I just want to say the Bond Number 9 is overrated. It's not a very good fragrance. I have about 4 bottles and I'm just like, it's all right. There's better stuff out there.
I mean, to her credit, she was able to do something amazing with marketing and all that, because that's the day, that's what it is. But yes, I don't work with the house that does her scent. I work with a brand that was up against someone I was up against someone who worked for them.
Right.
But yeah. It's okay. I saw better.
Amazing. I just love all of this. I'm a mom of 2 boys, so I went through the diaper phases. Thank God I'm out. I have a 5 and a 10-year-old. But just looking at everything, and I just love a love letter to all babies. I'm such a mom. Like, I love it so much. So anything that can make my children safer, or it could be better for them. And just reading that sentence gives me that warmth. Like, as a mom, like, I want to try it now. Like, what? So what does that mean to you? A love letter to all babies, like, and the development of this.
So it's exactly as it sounds. I came up with Tinkypoo as a dream. Honestly, Michelle, I woke up in the middle of the night and it was a dream that just hit me like Nadiyah, babies of color on diapers.
Right.
Never saw it. And it was one of those moments, that people say they wake up and write notes. I wasn't that girl who woke up and write notes, but this time I did. And not only did I write notes, there was a gentleman who I'm close with, who was a graphic designer, who was co-founder in this process, who I immediately hit up. And throughout the pandemic, we worked closely on projects together. And I was like, dude, have you ever? And he's like, no, I haven't. And I was like, I think this is something, this has legs. And by, 24 hours after me having that dream, that epiphany, the name Tinkypoo was founded. And the images of Timmy and Penny, the boy and girl who wore the diaper. And that was intentional, Michelle, to have a boy and a girl, and particularly a dark-skinned girl on my diaper pad, because I just wanted to show children of color. And then the afro was important to have.
Yes.
And the prints were about aspirational things for babies. So if I wanted, parents are the ones who buying, but I wanted children to be able to see themselves from the time they leave the womb in a really beautiful light. So this is my space traveler print. I don't know if you can see it, but it's Timmy and Penny in outer space. And this is my soft one, Timmy and Penny, Bubbles and Halos. This is the Beat of Power with Timmy and Penny with their fists in the air and the Pan-African flag. And then this Kenyan tribal print with the Tinkypoo kind of written in really beautiful way is my homage to my time in Kenya. I lived on and off there for years when I was working for this company, Suno. So it is a love letter in the sense that it didn't exist. And I want to disrupt the diaper industry. I realized that all these years in manufacturing, I'm more equipped than most to do this. Because it wasn't an easy endeavor. It wasn't, I wouldn't say it was a cakewalk. I got told no by over 50 factories because these big brands have these factories on lock. So if somebody's running Huggies or running Pampers, they are not allowed to take another diaper brand. They might not own the facility, but our business keeps the lights on, so you don't bring anyone else in. So I worked with a factory that does a lot of diapers throughout the continent, Africa, Australia, Europe. They do everywhere but America. So they wanted to break into America. So I was their first foray into the country. So the beautiful thing about that is I was able to build a superior diaper because I was looking at what was doing well in Japan, what was doing well for babies in Australia, what was doing well. So my back elastication, my sap, everything, even my color back sheets are woven, triple woven, to be able, they could be good enough for swim diapers. So it was important. If I was going to come into the marketplace, I had to come hard. And it was a culmination of all those years. So it's a love letter to baby saying after 20 years in the game, and like you, Michelle, my son is out of diapers. He's just turned 8. So it's not like I had it like, oh, I'm emotionally tied because I have this baby and I want to do something new for him. It really was a love letter to children of color to say, I don't see you in this space. And why not? Why is it 2022 now? I launched it, the idea came about in 2020. Why aren't we owning diaper brands? It's a necessity, it's an essential. It's like you need toilet paper. It's like you need paper towel. We should be in these spaces as well. So yeah, I didn't want to just be in this space. I also wanted to tell our stories and be culturally relevant.
I absolutely love that. And representation is just so important, especially as we grow and, our kids' lives are on the line, what they see is on the line. And the only way that we can change from my perspective, your perspective, is to give them something different. So, but one thing that I also noticed is you guys heavily touch on Black maternal health. And it's such a big problem. And for me, having my first son at 20, my second at 25, I didn't see a lot of the issues that are happening now with Black women in the maternal space. So I think it's amazing that you guys touch on that a lot. And what are your thoughts and feelings like behind that in particular? Because I know with diapers and everything, it kind of goes hand in hand.
It's important. There's a gentleman who runs for Care for Moms, and Kara I actually knew her previous to her being married, but Kara passed away after having her second child. And she was telling the doctor that I don't feel well. And after having one, as you know, Michelle, the second you're more in tune, you know what more to expect. So I didn't feel this way after. And they didn't listen to her. They just didn't. And she knew, and she was bleeding internally. And then by the 8 hours later, when they got her into operating room, it was too late. So there is a story, and you learn, even going back to Spelman when we're talking, that sometimes our pain isn't addressed. Sometimes our hurt isn't addressed. That strong Black woman moniker, or we can take it all, or they'll be okay, or their pain threshold is higher. That's all a lie. We're gentle, we're fragile, we hurt, we bleed like everyone else. And I think it's important for us to not only, if you have to celebrate the baby, but you have to celebrate the mother, the vessel it came through. And Black maternal health is important for us because it goes hand in hand. If I'm gonna celebrate you, I have to celebrate mom, but I also want to pay attention. I don't want to be all cuckoo and fun and kitschy, but I also want to let the mothers know, the mothers of color, I see you, I hear you, and I understand your pain. And let's shine a light on it in a positive way.
Definitely. And so just looking at the brand and everything that it stands for, I just think it's so amazing, something that you've done and created from so much adversity and like hardship, So moving forward, what stores, is this in any stores? Like if someone wanted to go somewhere, could they get it?
We are online right now at tinkypoo.com, and we're in conversation with stores. Can't say anything yet. I don't want to jinx anything, but it's definitely, we want to be a retail play. I think for all those retailers who might be listening, you should have the first Black-owned diaper brand on your shelves. Like it should be a given. And it's not just for us, it's for others. My tagline is seeing yourself makes all the difference. That's my motto. So as we grow, which leads me kind of into this conversation, Timmy and Penny, who are the characters, let me show you on the diaper. Here's Timmy and Penny. They're part of the Tinkypoo crew. So the whole story behind this brand is the Timmy and Penny are dropped off at the nursery, the daycare, and then they go through, the world of what children do. Like, mom and dad aren't here. What am I doing? So inside this nursery, this daycare, they meet children from other ethnic backgrounds. They meet Indian children, they meet Asian children, they meet children from all over. So that's part of the Tinkypoo crew. So as we grow, we'll have Princess celebrates Chinese New Year. Timmy and Penny learn about Year of the Rabbit. Timmy and Penny, the Indian Americans, Timmy and Penny learn about Dwale and the Color of Lights, the Lights Festival. So our prints will really gravitate and show even more diversity, global diversity, but celebrating still children of color globally. I foresee coloring books. I foresee dolls with Timmy and Penny. I foresee, as we nurture, put on these diapers and these beautiful wipes that have, that we developed. Also, skincare products to kind of cater to melanated skin. One of the things that our wipes will use is chamomile, because children of color are prone to eczema. Chamomile is known to heal and soften. So really just excited about opportunities. We just want to love on your baby so much in all avenues, but also have something that they can grow with as well.
That's so awesome. I just have to put it out there. It's giving Target. I can see your brand. Like it feels like it would fit so perfect.
Right? Yeah, like from your lips to God's ears. Come on, Target, get it together.
Yes. But another question I have, and that was, you actually led it into it. So I was like, I could really see this being a coloring book. And that's so clever. So is that happening like anytime soon?
Soon, very soon. All these things take money, Michelle. So we are, doing everything in phases. I have, a wonderful partner who is rocking with me to help grow and bring about. We're just really, really trying to stay focused on what we have and really explode on what we have, because this is a huge endeavor. To bring in the containers we brought in during the pandemic is unreal. And then there was a gentleman who I spoke to who is a guest host on Shark Tank who reached out to me recently. And he said, how did you do it? And I was like, my 20 years in manufacturing is how. If I've been making everyone else's dreams come true, when you do manufacturing, you have to know logistics. You can't say I made your goods, let's figure out how to get here. No, so I know freight forwarders, I know Maersk and shipping lines, and even people who work for the New Jersey port and Elizabeth Seaport. I knew people who were there to make sure my stuff got through. So my 20 years was a culmination of bringing this dream to reality. If I was going to go hard, I had to go hard for myself.
Yeah, so that leads me into relationships, which is a huge part about entrepreneurship and business ownership. And you saying that 20 years was what allowed you to kind of make this process a little bit smoother. So like for you, how important is it to build these types of relationships, and how do you go about doing that?
Relationship management is key with what I do for a living. The woman who allowed me in to work in her factory to bring my diapers to life, they never did samples, right? So samples in the fashion world is what you see, before, like a fashion show is pretty much the sample before it becomes in stores. So they're showing you what you like, and then the buyers decide based off of what was on the runway, whether you liked it or not. So for me, a diaper sample was just important. What was the quality, was all those things. I didn't want to just mass produce something without checking it. But I learned that these diaper houses do not do samples. So I had to work and wait and figure out and really explain that dynamic of how a fashion show works and how you need to see it and how I need to be able to make sure that if I'm going to invest all this time and money into this product, I'm getting what I want. I was finally able to just get samples, and samples that had to be in the final pack and the final colors, all those things, so I can test on babies. I didn't want just to assume because you did it for others that it was going to work for us. I wanted to make sure my back seat, the elastication, all those things. So that was one thing. So the relationship and understanding the need for that, and then having one of my partners be able to work with me to get to that point was really important. So even getting the samples is part of relationship management. Just being able to be in this facility that didn't ship to America. They had to like you. They had to see your vision. They had to be able to relate. I tell young people all the time as I mentor that you never burn a bridge. You never burn a bridge. You never know who you're going to need. And most of what I do, like I said, is relationship management. So just people liking you is important. People understanding you. People believing your vision is important. Everything I've built in my career has been relationship driven.
That's amazing. I'm just always a big person on relationship and value. I've always been that way because I believe that regardless of a lot of people saying, oh, you know, you don't need people to like you. Well, if people don't like you, they're not going to go out of their way for you. And if they don't go out of their way for you, they're not going to do anything for you. So I think that's a great principle to stand on. So if anyone that wants to just generally get into manufacturing, what are 3 things that they just need to know from off the gate before they want to just go jump head first in?
Have your idea honed out. Know from the inception to the delivery, right? It's one thing to have an idea, but you need to know, how am I going to market this? How am I going to get it out there? How am I going to distribute it? That's important. Budget is important. Like, what are we looking at? What do we have the budget to do? Again, you have a great idea, but how do you get it out to the masses? And organization and time management. There's something called T&A calendars that I do in my business. A T&A calendar means time and action calendar. So from the time I had this idea to the time I bring it to life, what does that look like? And how am I doing it? How am I dedicating time to it? If I have to work another job to pay the bills and keep the lights on and feed the babies, how am I fueling my passion and my dream? That's about organization and time management.
Most definitely. I love organization and time management. That's what my specialty is. I'm very much like, if you can master your minutes, you can master millions. So I'm right there with you.
Oh, Michelle, I like that. We need to do a T-shirt, master the minutes, master the millions. I like that.
So that's what I do. Is I'm a high productivity and time management coach, and I teach high performing entrepreneurs time management, because that is the thing that's missing for Black entrepreneurs. I'm not even like, we have our own CPT, like we're on color people time. So it's like, when you think about it, we have great ideas and we have implementation, but the fact is when you don't know where your time is going, you have no idea, you have no control. So
exactly.
Can you drop some gems on what you do with your time management? What are some things that you like to do?
One of the things I do, like, since I still run a consulting firm, each client I have, we have weekly touch bases, weekly meetings that I stick to that day and time. I allot myself at least 2 days out of the week to like Mondays and Fridays. I try not to go in the city. I do a lot of work in Manhattan sometimes still. I choose key days that I'm working on my things and no one else's. And I have key days I have to go hard on my clients and key times. So, and I stick to that, and I try not to falter from that too much. Those are my keys to success, are being able to say when I can turn the lights on for everyone else and when I can turn them on for Tinkypoo. And that's important.
And you guys, that is called day theming. She is day theming her life out, and that is why she is successful. See, time management does work.
It does work. It does work. One of my partners calls me the quarterback, right? So we have our Monday morning meetings, like, all right, quarterback, what are we doing? So those are given. Like, we have to have those conversations to make sure that I'm addressing what has to happen for the week for our businesses. I didn't hear the phone in the background. I'm sorry. I guess Mom Duke still has a home line.
So what is, and this is a question Charles usually asks, but what is something that has happened with your success that you didn't think would happen?
I'm still getting there, right? So Tinkypoo is still growing. I wouldn't say I'm a success yet until I'm on the shows I want to be at, right? So I launched, that was a success, right? I got goods here during the pandemic. Like, who would have thought, right? August 2020 is when the idea came to fruition. And August 2021, September is when my goods were wrapping up in the factory and sailing here.
It took you a year.
So that was a year, and that was
Wow.
an amazing year. An awful year as well, Michelle. I lost my father.
My
And
condolences.
which is crazy is August 20th, 2020 is when the idea came to fruition. The last text I received from my father was August 20th, 2021. And it said, I believe in you and I'm so proud of you. And you're gonna move mountains. Not knowing that was the last time I was gonna hear from my dad, right? So ironically also, I have the diapers, Timmy and Penny. Timmy is named after my dad. So he got to see that before he went. And it wasn't like it was foreshadowing what was going to happen. Back to Charles asking me about my childhood. He was such an amazing person, a great man. And I just wanted to pay homage to him in a way and for him to give him his flowers while he was here. That's why Timmy is the name of the male baby on our product. So success for me is not being a novelty. You know, we sometimes run the risk of, because we're new or Black owned, that we're not as good as the others. And I want you to know that my years in manufacturing, I wasn't going to bring a punk diaper to the game. Like there wasn't going to be a diaper that didn't stand up to the best and then knock them out the park. It just so happens that they're more culturally relevant because I wanted to speak to us. It's one thing to have a baby of color on the back of a box when you walk into a store. But when you open that diaper, there's no reflection of them. They don't see themselves. Once that box goes away, that's it. So success for me is Tinkypoo being people buying into our subscriptions, realizing we're just as great as the others in the marketplace, and that we're not a novelty, we're not a one-trick pony, and that these stores recognize and realize that our value, our dollars are important, and then seeing ourselves is important. So success for me is realizing and being, people can say like Pampers is a brand name, right? It's Huggies is a brand name. Tinkypoo is a brand name, and I want my brand name to be synonymous with, oh, I got to get my Tinkypoos. That's what I want. That's success for me. People saying, I got to go get those Tinkypoos.
I got to go get some Tinkypoos, but I got to find a baby first.
I got to get some Tinkypoos. I have a baby, but he's actually going out
you
of
can
diaper.
give them. There's mothers of color around who don't have it and can't afford. You can give them to. That's my mom. And what we've been doing is giving back to nurseries and young mothers we see who don't have it. It's a way to give out. You can buy it and give to others in need.
Well, I think
all these baby showers and everything like that.
Exactly. Charles, I'm a baby shower gift. Yes.
Exactly. And I have a nonprofit called the Single Parent Purpose, and it is to aid single mothers and single fathers in finding financial support, freedom, and all of those things. So listen, if we need some babies in Tinkypoo, we got babies.
Let's talk to figure out how we can get them some Tinkypoos, because one of those things diapers are cost. So let's try to mitigate some of that.
Yeah.
For sure. And I just, for me, something like this Tinkypoo, it's so important because once again, my dad is Black, my mom is white and Puerto Rican. So I have like both worlds that way. However, I lean more towards on my Black side. So I see what a lot of single mothers go through with diapers. I mean, my story to how I got here was I had to use my son's piggy bank to buy my youngest son diapers. And that was my reason of why I started my cleaning business. So it's just like the options, there was no support. There was just so much going on. So I love what you're doing. I think it's amazing. And
thank you.
I've not
that's
seen
what it is.
Like
It's
cute. It's so cute.
Tinkypoo is for children of color, no matter mixed, Indian American, Asian American, white babies. Like you're learning. Like why can't if kids can carry white dolls or GI Joes and Spider-Man, like we've embraced their culture. We've embraced who they are. Embrace us. It's okay to have children of color on diapers and children who are not children of color wear them. Why not? Right. It's for everybody.
You got to break that stigma, and it starts.
Exactly. I just happen to be a Black woman who owns a diaper brand.
Mm-hmm. So you talked about manufacturing and getting the product made. How do you get it to the point where you're distributing and you're getting sales and you're getting to that level, to the end user?
So we have an amazing PR firm who helps us with our social media. We're just getting started in TikTok. I'm an old head, Charles. I'm not gonna tell my age, but like these social media endeavors aren't necessarily always, wasn't my go-to. And when I started out in the business, social media didn't exist. And I started out in fashion. They were just like word of the street. Like, I'm gonna wear this new polo. I'm gonna wear this Live Mechanics. Whatever the case may be. Now you have to be, a little bit more media savvy, not a little bit, a lot more media savvy to get out there. So we have an amazing first and last PR who works with us to get us to the masses. We had amazing press. We've been in Essence, Ebony, NBC News, Yahoo News, and it's building. And just what was important was distribution, being able to. So I'm not, some people, family members might text me like, hey, can I get a size 4? Like, no, at a warehouse and you got to go online and order. So it was important for me in all my years learning that also what could kill a brand, no matter how great the product and idea is how it gets out and timely to another customer, how efficient you're shipping. So again, back to what I do, I was able to partner with a warehouse that I've worked with for years for other clients. And they took on Tinkypoo, so they distribute. So through my website, you order, you get your tracking, and it comes right to you. I have nothing to do with that process. We have customer services. Let's say we happen to send the wrong size, or you know what? I realize my baby's really a 3 now, and I thought it was a 2. So I have a team on the distribution and the side that handles all of that, a PR team that helps, and then I'm just steadily just trying to give the efficacy of our product. Right now, my whole goal is not only focusing on the prints, which are great, but what new moms and dads and aunties and uncles and grandmas want to know is, does your stuff work? Like, will it help prevent blowouts and leaks? Will our baby have less diaper rash? And I say yes to all those things. We have created something that I really, really have been passionate about and really took my time to figure out what are those things that makes parents tick. There's one thing, Charles and Michelle, that I love about our diaper is, and I don't want to pull out anyone else's because I don't want to poo-poo on them right now, but this is the true elastication, right? You see how there and back. So that was intentional. And you see how it's a little higher in the back than in the front. That's something called a gene bias. And that's from my years in manufacturing. So when I worked for Gap Kids and Baby Gap, the more elastication that they put in a children's pant, the more it will hold in all things. So we kind of did that with our diapers. So we're more or less to have blowouts because we're hugging the body a bit more. And then the back is higher than the front, just a tad. So that was intentional. And my years in manufacture was able to hone in on that. And like I said, that triple weave of the creation of my back sheet was important because I'm also keeping in more moisture from like leaking out. So if the diaper does get soaked, if a mother and father forgets to change them after quite some time, I'm still kind of keeping you together.
Yeah. And I know you mentioned Shark Tank. Is that in the plans for you?
They reached out, but they have reached out. In due time, right? Mm-hmm. In due time. I haven't, not a need yet, and we'll see. This to me is just as important as Shark Tank, talking to you guys and getting the word out and talking to people who look like me and sound like me and believe in entrepreneurs of color. So to me, this is my Shark Tank right now.
Nice.
Mm-hmm. I love that. That's amazing.
You mentioned, well, I'm kind of curious the name of Tinkypoo. We didn't address that. Why'd you pick that name?
So the funny story, when we were stalking the graphic designer and creative director that we worked with, we started Tinkypoo with, when I hit him up late at night, I was like, mocha hue babies and this and all these things. And he was like, Nadiyah, no, we need to talk about the functionality, what it is. And then we were like, then they Tinky and they Poo and they were like the Tinky. And then all of a sudden then Tinkypoo came about. And it was like, there you have it.
Yeah.
That was it. That was a day after the genesis of the idea.
You
just ran with it.
I used to refer to it with the babies, like when I was potty training, it was Tinky and Poo. That's why I thought
exactly. And that's what it is. That's what we say to our babies, right? So
yeah,
just like a Pamper is a brand, we thought also a coinable key name could be really beneficial in helping to brand us. It's something cute that moms and babies want to say. I
keep saying it. I really
Mommy, mommy, I want my Tinkypoos. Or tell your husband or your friend or your boyfriend or your partner, whoever, listen, it's late, go get those Tinkypoos.
Yeah.
So.
One thing I noticed is, and this is something that I think sometimes maybe Black businesses might struggle with, is your prices are competitive with the market. How are you able to accomplish that? And why is that important also?
I didn't want to be the most expensive diaper in the game. My margin is a little lower as a result of that being competitive, but I wanted to not price myself out. But it's the economies of scale, right? So if you look at your Honest, your Hello Bellos, who are in all these stores and have all this money, they're buying so much that they're able to get their pricing a lot lower because of quantity, right? So I didn't think our consumer would really appreciate, because I am, minority owned business, I'm higher because I didn't buy as much as they did. I wanted you to rock with me. So I also know that mythology, that mentality, like I can't explain to anybody, oh, well, I didn't buy, 20 million, so therefore I couldn't bid this. So it was a thought, and it was a, gut wrenching conversations, but we wanted to be in the ballpark with everyone else. We might be slightly higher, but our quality is better. But we definitely wanted to sit on the shelves properly and not outprice ourselves.
Yeah. I know you mentioned Honest. We use a brand that's like, I think it's like the Pampers Natural or something like that.
Okay.
Is your diaper comparable to those? Is that
Oh God, yeah, not better. I'm going to be in a conference in May, end of May in DC, the largest conference of mother of colors. And I cannot wait because I'm going to be doing on-site experiments where I'm going to be doing 250 milliliters of water and all the top competitors' diapers and pouring them in and then showing them and then dabbing each one and showing that the moisture on my napkin does not exist and the moisture underneath does not exist. Because I feel like in order to get you out of those other diapers, you need to see that I'm just as good, if not better.
Not better. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One thing I like is just the images. I was blown away when I saw like the unapologetically Black images on some diapers. That was super cool. And then you said that materials that protect them and images that reflect them. So that was just powerful.
Exactly. I felt like having a brand that was culturally relevant in this day and age is important, but also something fun. I didn't want to be too heavy for the babies. I don't want them to bear the cross that we as adults bear. But I just wanted to show like fun, cute colors and prints that, the baby could respond to as they start to see color more, understand. You have these thoughts, Charles, that you think people will understand. I did this and did the baby understood? I remember when I first got my first round of samples, a girlfriend was over with her baby girl and she hated being changed. And then all of a sudden I pull out the Tinkypoo diaper with the purple background and she just looked and then crawled over to it and grabbed it and then gave it to her mother and was like, here. So in that small minute, that small moment, I realized that I'm onto something because the girl who hated diapers wanted her mom to change. Another little boy was over our house and my wipes, he just kept pulling him and kept telling his mom, baby, see baby, and then pointing to his hair. So that's seeing yourself. That is knowing who you are early on, that this is a reflection of me, and they're realizing it. Our babies are so much smarter than we think they are. So like I said, a love letter and a hug from afar. This is a hug for them to say, I see you, I love you, and your parents love you, and your community loves you, and we're going to support you. And to me, it started as products that they can wear from the womb.
Yeah. I think that's key. It's really cool when we have conversations with like Black entrepreneurs and the products that they create are part product and functional and being high quality, but they just put you they show us in a better light. They show us in a light that's going to uplift and empower us. So we've talked to somebody who was an author, he wrote books, and now we're seeing somebody who's creating diapers, diaper bags, and wipes. That's really cool stuff.
I just want you guys to understand, like, this is history being made. Like, we're literally like writing our own history on the products, the representation, the things, like being the co-host on the show. I've never met a Black author before. I've never met a Black manufacturer before. So it's just being, even as an adult, and I'm going to turn 30 this year, I've not been exposed to all these things. And I just think it's so amazing that we're documenting it now because these interviews are going to live forever, but we also get to see the progression. So from a year from now, we're going to be able to look back at this interview and see you inside of Target and see you inside of all of these major retail stores and see that Tinkypoo is a household name the way Pampers and Huggies are. So I just think that is just so amazing. And
Thank you, Michelle. I love what you said. You're right. It's I think we're learning as just individuals in the world, humans in the world, that we have a story to tell, and we have experiences and moments that can be shared through product. And it's not about forcing something down someone's throat. Not at all. That's not what I'm trying to do. If you like your other brand, rock with your other brand. But I'm here to say that a Black woman can create a diaper brand and be as successful as others.
Yeah. It's interesting because you say you're the quarterback and they call you the quarterback. Then I hear you map out your business, and it doesn't seem like you're trying to be all things within your business. You're putting the pieces together. How important is that for an entrepreneur? Because I know, especially when we're starting a brand new business, we want to be the graphic designer and the web designer and the this and the that. But you took you took the more intelligent approach, in my opinion. Why is that important?
I'm good at what I'm good at, right? So I'm good at manufacturing. I help bring a lot of designers' visions to life throughout my career. And I know that it takes a great team to build a great product. Excuse me. Sorry, one second. So it was really important for me to, I know, like I said, I can meet with the houses that produce and the logistics company and the warehouse. If I'm doing all that, I would be sacrificing on print and the proper colors and what's out there in the marketplace. If I was trying to handle all my PR and doing that myself, something would be neglected down the way. So then we have a CFO who's also a co-founder. He handles all the money and then sending out and the books. So if I did all that, I wouldn't be able to do what I do well, which is make and build products.
So true. That is true. Mm-hmm. And I think for people who are listening, that's important to understand. It's like you're going to be sacrificing in other areas that are just as important if you're trying to be all over the place. So now you have a high quality diaper, but the images aren't that great or the website's not that great. And so it's like, in order to achieve excellence across the board, you have to work with the team. You have to hire out people and delegate to experts. That is fire. What is the biggest challenge that you're facing in your business, and how are you tackling it?
The biggest challenge is, we spoke about a few moments ago, is just letting people know that I exist. And that's why our PR firm has been amazing in that endeavor. But not only did I exist, that I'm effective. And when you're talking to parents or people who are guardians of new babies, they want to make sure that they put the best on their child, right? So I have to go on educational tours to let them know that you will put the best on your child. Just because I'm new doesn't mean that I'm not giving you something great. Like, I don't think anybody who has any sense will enter such a babies in diapers. It's daunting. And why I did it sometimes, like, Nadiyah, what were you thinking? That I knew I had to bring my A game. So just kind of, I'm going on I really want to start these educational tours, if you will, because it's beyond the hype of the print. Like I said earlier, it's really the efficacious property of the diaper. So that's the hurdle in getting parents to transition and shift. What's important to me, Charles and Michelle, I'm really going to start talking to hospitals, because here's what I also learned. You pick up and see that when you left the hospital, Michelle, didn't they give you diapers to take home for your baby? Exactly. So then you're less likely to shift to something else because the hospital told you this was the best. Why is that? Because they have contracts with these people, and they didn't do any further testing of anyone else. It was just business capitalism. So I'm on a tour of, like, how do I get into these hospitals to say, yes, there's another diaper brand that's just as great. Leave with this. So I'm now on this mission to educate others about you. Sometimes you've just been kind of guided into something, but it's okay to kind of switch gears. It's okay to start something new. How long has Tesla been around, right? Not that long, but now he's the gold print for electric cars. Now Genesis, right, was started by people who worked for Lexus, Mercedes, and I think another company. Now that car is blowing up. It's those years of people who took their experience to build a product. And that's what I'm trying to tell people. I took years in manufacturing, now built a product. Trust me, it's damn good.
Oh, I love that. I just got chills. I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go have a baby so I can put diapers on. Jeez, you just told me.
No, I just got a puppy, you guys, because my husband said, no, we're not having
no
any
baby.
more baby. I was like, can you imagine the in-house photo shoots we can have every single day? Like, come on. No,
we got the diapers already. It's no worries. And it's just
no
like,
worries, no worries.
Unlimited supply of diapers.
It takes two to tango, right? So yeah.
So your story is just so inspiring. Like I just, even though I'm not in the product space, like physical product space, I'm more inspired to just like delegate more. And I delegate enough now, but I'm like, it makes so much sense because when you're so focused on everything, you don't get to give an optimal product. Something is going to lack. And I don't think as entrepreneurs that clicks, something somewhere is going to fall short if you don't build that team. So for you, what are some important key factors in building your team?
Respectability, accountability, just people have to be able to get along and work with one another. We can agree to disagree in a healthy way. And if you're not on that bandwagon, you got to go.
What's your limit?
Gotta go.
What's your limit with, training people? And if they don't get it, what does that process look like for you?
Well, luckily right now, the team of Tinkypoo is all seasoned professionals. We're the adults who've all had. The graphic designer's been in the game for as long as I've been in the fashion world and in manufacturing. Our CFO has been in the game as long as I have and owned some retail outlets before. So it was intentional to build these individuals. And then our PR firm has been, in the game for some time, and they've really taken a lot of great brands to the outlets I want to be at. So we talk about, your Targets, your Walmarts one day, or Whole Foods, all those places. Our firm has people who are in those outlets. So it was important to also align with outsourced agencies that can help us guide to where we want to be.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
One question I wanted to ask a long time ago is, you told a story with your brand. How important is that?
I think it's important. I think nowadays, more than ever, there has to be some kind of connectivity amongst, there's so many products out there in the marketplace. Again, not a Black-owned diaper brand, but that's, we're here, we're talking about it. But people need to relate. I'm learning through supporting other brands. Like I said, I'm a consultant as well. One of my clients is a Black-owned CBD brand, Bronco Jane they're called, and they built a community, a tribe of women who really subscribe to self-care and wellness and wholeness. And they had to speak to that audience. There's connectivity there. There is vulnerability there amongst that story. So I learned, and there's another brand that I support owned by Korean Americans called Aloria. It's a fragrance line, amazing. But they're telling the stories of the elements of the Korean flag and people are relating, again, connectivity. Another client of mine was a lawyer who created a clothing line, Pirouette, beautiful clothing line. She wanted to be able to go from the courthouse to cocktail hour without necessarily having to shift, because sometimes women in these legal settings are super buttoned up and a little too corporate. So she wanted outfits at Pirouette to go from day to night very easily. So each one of these brands has a story that they're telling, and they're trying to connect to their audience in a super impactful way.
Yeah.
So it was important that Tinkypoo has a story. And it was a story of embracing who we are, loving on babies. The pandemic, we saw a lot. We saw what happened with George Floyd in real time. I had to explain to my son that, if mommy and daddy get pulled over to the cops, this could happen. The things of that nature, having these conversations. So I wanted to build a product that told a story, told a founder story, but more so relatable. I'm trying to be relatable.
What is the most important lesson that you've learned over your career?
Ooh, wow, you hit me with the doozy on that one. There's so many. I think we touched about it, and that's why I speak about relationship management so much. In full transparency, Charles, throughout the pandemic, it was my Spelman sisters who got me 2 major gigs that kept me going when a lot of brands dropped, because the fashion industry, no one was ordering. Warehouses of fabric still exist, and mills were shutting down, and cut and sew facilities. And then I had friends and like I said, Spelman sisters say, well, we can give you this, we can do this, let's introduce. They put my name in spaces where I wasn't. So that was really important to be able to have built a career in manufacturing for so long that I didn't have to be there to be talked about in good graces. So again, if there's one thing I would say that the totality of my career is how to manage relationships so that when you're not in the room, people say good things about you.
That's important. Once again, I think relationships have carried me and my businesses a lot further than anything else has. And I will always stand on that. Build relationships, add value, and continuously add value until you get to the next level. So cheers for relationships.
Yeah.
I'm going to head into the wrap up questions. I definitely appreciate you for your time. I know people have got a ton of value and inspiration out of this conversation. My first question is going to be a little bit different than I normally ask. It's what is a movie that you recommend to your audience or to this audience and why?
A movie.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. It's not relatable to what I do, but my favorite movie in the world is Coming to America. I kid you not. Like, that's the first thing that went to my mind, and just, I'm not going to be that girl who acts like it's relatable to what I do, but it is trying something new and going after your passion and your heart, right? So at the end of the day, the protagonist fell in love, wanted to stay, and made it happen. So if I were to make that analogous to the rest of my life, is a passion, going for it, attacking it, and achieving it.
What's your favorite business or investing book?
I wouldn't say, I do a lot of podcasts and reading now, and I wouldn't say invest in book. I want to be that girl, but after 20 years in manufacturing, I kind of honed in on what that is. If I were to say a book that I like that I can relate to and helps me, again, back to my theme, relationship management, is the 4 agreements, to be impeccable with your word, don't take anything personally, don't make any assumptions, and always do your best, by Don Miguel Ruiz. So to me, I would say, given who I am and what I work at, it's not like I'm not going to be that girl who's going to sit there and read like, okay, this is investment 101, I should do this, I should do that. Again, that's not what I'm good at, right? That's why I have a CFO. I know what I'm good at. So, but I do know that in order to be able to build a business, I need to be impeccable with my word, trust others, don't take things personally, and then do my best. So that's what I would say would be a book I would encourage others to read.
What is a podcast that you recommend?
There was you guys, right? Todd Capital, number 1 now, and number 2, Boom Boom Boom. What has been really good is this guy Rand, and I've listened to him on Spotify. And very recently, I listened to a friend sent over to me, Melissa Butler, the Lit Bar, Kathy Hughes of Radio One. So those podcasts, and just kind of seeing women who look like myself, how they were able to charter uncharted territory. And they were disruptors in their own industry. And Tinkypoo is trying to be a disruptor in a diaper and baby industry. So listening to women who had to chart their own course has been super beneficial. I listened to Arielle Carr on your podcast recently. She's phenomenal, right? Like what she's been able to do and set the tone in business. You guys, I need to reach out to her. She's having a baby and we need to send Arielle some diapers.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Definitely.
What sets apart successful manufacturers from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
Repeat that? Sorry.
What sets apart successful manufacturers from those who give up, fail, or never get started?
What sets up successful manufacturers?
Or just successful brands?
Okay, successful brands. I think you have to try, right? There's no rhyme or reason. You'll hear stories about people who tried a multitude of brands and things and didn't work, but they never gave up. So I think if in your heart you're an entrepreneur, then you're an entrepreneur. You just have to find a thing that sticks, So for me, it was everyone thought after 20 years in the business, I would do a clothing brand or I would do, a fragrance brand because the last 7-8 years have been in that world. And though those things are amazing, they excite me, and that's how I, made a career, it didn't speak to me intrinsically. This idea was like I said, the first that kind of came to me in a dream, and I woke up gobsmacked and wrote it down. And it just it arrested me, Charles. It just didn't leave me. And I think what I will say, people, that makes you successful, if there's something that just is in your heart, like they say, there's a song that's in your heart, you have to sing. Tinkypoo was a song in my heart that I had to sing.
Nice. What does wealth mean to you?
Woo. Good. You hitting me with the good ones right now, Charles. It is welcoming to me. I'm learning to be more spiritually inclined. My mother is telling me that I need to get on my knees and pray more. And I have to, because these blessings that are coming my way, and in order for me to build my brand, my mom, who's super faithful, I have to give thanks. So that's welcoming and learning to welcome and to thank the ancestors and those who come before me. So, yeah.
Awesome. Well, a powerful show, a lot of gems, some great energy in the building today. Michelle, any last words for the peeps before we head out?
No, I'm very grateful we had this interview. I love the energy. Oh, hi, Mom.
My mom, she just walked in.
And thank you for the inspiration. Honestly, seeing women like me in different spaces, especially something I've never seen before, I'm impacted and inspired by our conversation. So thank you so much for your time.
Yeah.
Thank you, guys. That was Mom Dukes who just walked in.
Wow, the inspiration.
The inspiration. I told you she was the entrepreneur since I was young. So I'm thankful for her. I'm thankful for my father and his heavenly presence. I would say that they have been the guiding spirits to what we all see of Nadiyah now. And I'm grateful. So I thank you for your time, Charles and Michelle. This is amazing. I was really nervous, but you guys made me feel super comfortable.
Good.
And thank you for your time and this opportunity. It's been wonderful.
The last question I'm going to ask you is, where can they find you? Where can they follow you? And where can they support what you have going on? And where can they buy the diapers?
Right now, you can buy us on Tinkypoo.com. We're also shoppable on Instagram. Our Instagram handle is My Tinkypoo. We're on Facebook, shoppable. That's Tinkypoo. And you'll be seeing us in stores soon. I'm manifesting that I'm going to be in shelves super soon, because I designed even a diaper bag that, Michelle, you would appreciate this. When you run in the store late at night, instead of having to put more carbon footprint, get more plastic, just carry this right out to stores, people. So Target, Walmart, look at this. You just carry it right out and you're good to go. So I hope this time next year, let's circle back. I should be on shelves. But right now, Tinkypoo.com is where you can find us and learn more about us and what we have going on.
Love it. It's interesting because in California, they charge you for bags. So it's like you just eliminated that whole process.
Boom.
I'm going to order some diapers, but I have no idea what size my son wears. I'm just going to send a link to my wife. And
how old is he?
He's 2.
He's 2. Okay, so let's find out. So it'll be 4 would be my highest right now. Will be 5 and 6 are coming. Oh. But if he's 2, is he potty training yet?
No, not yet. I will say he's not yet. He's on the cusp.
All right, so it's by weight. So if he's 2, it would be my 4. So let your wife check it out. Send a link, and we can definitely send you something. It would be an honor. Yeah. So just let us know. I need to convert you, clearly. So let us know.
Awesome. We might be having some more babies too. So
you need to. With that smile, you gotta.
Yes.
Thank you, guys.
Yeah, another amazing episode of the podcast, man. Make sure you guys reach out to her. Make sure you guys support her business, share her business, and help her grow the business in any way that you guys can, because we have a vast network of people who listen to this podcast. And just that alone, we should be able to help her grow.
Thank you.
I don't have any parting words, but I would just say, make sure you click the link in the show notes. Make sure you support Michelle's products and my products as well, because we're going to continue to create that value and add value to your life. Man, I get testimonials all the time. My brother today, I had no idea he existed. He was like, man, I've bought everything, and you allowed me to help take my business from like nothing to something in 2 years. He went from like $0 to $130,000. So I was like, that's crazy, man. Good stuff happening.
We're changing lives, Charles. We're changing lives.
We're changing lives.
Awesome, guys. That's awesome. And the saying goes, we're all we got, right? So let's just lift each other up to the highest.
Yeah. So it was another episode of the Millionaire Podcast. We're out of here.
Bye. Thank you.
Bye.